Namaskaram.
Namaskar, sir. How are you?
Enjoy. Good day.
Am I audible?
Yes.
So it is great to be in one common platform, which is building up quite learning as well as sharing in common interest. So I managed to hear half of the YouTube yesterday while traveling back from the university to back home, and half of it today.
Okay.
So, so I am preparing. I have three areas of interest, sir.
Where are you in Ahmedabad?
I am at NIRMA University.
No. Where is the location?
So this is at Circuit Highway.
Okay. I used to be in Vastrapur.
So my home is nearby Vasundhara.
We have a space application center where I was there almost 8 months.
So I live near my airport.
Okay.
Yeah, the slope down there.
Good.
So near. So I would like to know, sir, there are two basic areas in connection to what you already had a word.
Yeah.
That is numeracy, that's communication, as well as the numeracy content part, that is cognitive part.
Okay.
Then socio-emotional also.
Okay.
And the third very basic one that is connected to me is the teenage concerns. Concerns in a sense, the bridge that we can research for. When it comes to socio-emotional, sir, I have done mother circle, which actually was when I was a young mother, and under the thin lines of apart from having a baby in the pram and taking up the park and kitty party, we didn't have any much activity-based gatherings. So that's when, as an educator and then a mama couldn't stay home. So I founded Mother Circle, and I had a good amount of mothers coming in with babies as small as 10 months. It was called Footprint Mother Circle, and we also had one more program in the same under the same umbrella, that is Caterpillar Circle, wherein 6 months to 10-month babies, we would have only sensorial, then workshops on weaning of breastfeeding, on swaddling, on baby holding, on parental care, on posture. This was for 6 to 8 months. Even it would go for 6 to 10 months, even it would go for 10 months plus. But it had a different, because then semi-solid food starts now. This was a baby raising. Actually, we don't teach baby raising. It's very intact and very natural, and person to person it varies. So these were just sessions, bi-weekly sessions, wherein 5 elements were coined together, were put in together, like art, music, sensory, and we had even parents, that is adult interventions, and one more I might be forgetting. So these 5 elements, music, sorry, very important. So these 5 elements were made, framed in together, and every session we would have 2 or 3, max 3 of these elements got together, and sessions were planned and drafted, and I myself executed. There was a cult over here with by having a lot of nanny work, and all bais and ayahs were there. So I removed that gradually. So it was a 3 and a 6 months program. And after 24 months, 26 months, when the child is eligible, we would have them move to the play group. So it was a bridge from home to the play group. And that time, 2012, we had early playgroup timings as 2.5 year old babies. And it was a very smooth transition, preparing them, from home, having an edutainment cycle of parenting with the babies. And then because they are in the campus itself, then going over to the school, which is very familiar now with the child, that the child is coming with the mother. So there is no socio-emotional, breach or the trouble that the child has, because my child went through that. He was just 2 years older to the babies that I was catering to. So they don't have the trouble of, sudden separation. There is no shock. So this particular was planned for that reason. That is, it is a bridge timings wherein we are looking into socio-emotional bonding between mamas and the little babies, and at the same time, gradually we are going to have the babies move over from the home care to the next level of school care. So this was the program, and it built in a lot. It was accepted. In fact, now every second door has a mother toddler program, and I moved on after that to Rudy's Circle as per the age for having mannerism and etiquettes, behavioral issues. That was from 7-year-old to 11, 12-year-olds. When there are very notorious, even the quieter ones are very notorious, full of spark and energy, and there's lots of misbehavioral complaints, and parents suddenly, feeling that these are uncontrollable, and lots of homework. So there is a time and a tenure, this span from 6 to 12 years. So at that time, I worked under the umbrella of Rudy's Circle. So there was Caterpillar Circle, Mother's Circle, and Rudy's Circle. So Rudy's Circle was more into behavior management, whether it is for the children or for the parents. So once a month, I would have mamas and parents, whosoever, if the fathers are available, but one of the parents to come, and we would have again very good workshops on behavioral management. First is identification. Every child does not need a management. Is not, it is this age. He has to, ponder, look into, he has to view. This is his personality building now, independent. Now from your complete care, he is going to a day school, or he is going to a school where he is having more students. So he's enjoying their phase, and that enjoyment actually becomes a trouble for people. And teachers and mothers and parents are all trouble. So I would have behavioral workshops for parents to identify whether first identify what is your child's innate abilities. So MIs were discussed, and then if there is so each level, each month, again 3 and 6 months program. Each level would be after acquisition, identification of MI, then having some expert coming in, like I would have some, you know, skill expert, rather than having only a psychologist. That was always in the last, only under extreme cases, we would have people who want to consult. First, there would be a general workshop, then who want to consult can consult. So, we would also have experts coming in so that we could manage the stress or the sudden upsurge of the child's eagerness. So, skill development like pottery, like gardening, like we would have even very these essential skill, that is, we have quilling. Quilling is a little art, paperwork art. So quilling. So then the child has an eye-hand coordination, and he is able to have some constructive output of his own energy. Rather than boxing him, labeling him, and subjugating him into some categories कि ये बीमार है या ये बहुत ज़्यादा मस्ती करता है. We can always have a better way, brighter way, positive way to announce or to address this child. So this was into the time that I was looking in the age of 6 to 12. So post that COVID did come in, and I looked into the repercussions, because now we were all into the homes, and my own son was now turning 13 and 14. So the breach that happened, the entire gap that happened, whether it was routine, whether it was learning, whether it was societal, friends. So this took a very major, block in any teenager's life. So hence I looked into this phase as another very important now, to research on, to look into what are the others. Like yourself, sir, you are by nature into more simpler and a realistic and a personal viewed, you have your, I just have read one of your website just right now. So the first one, sir. So like yourself, also, I have a natural instinct to study, to know, to concretize through the basic observation that in and generalize it not as for one person, two-person, but in general only that this could be the factors that teenagers are exposed to under the terms or under the conditions that they may be prevalent. It could be harsh climate, it could be harsh environment, it could be anything that is mis interpreting his time zone or his free time, and that is how he's being triggered on. So throughout my 14 plus, so I began looking into 14 plus. That is when, sir, I started. It resurfaced that I should study. So I got in with the first. My learning inclination moved me towards Santa. And if you're aware of Sir, Santa is a teacher based. It has one tool that is TPO. And I fortunately got a chance to have their 7 month course in association with Manipur. So that was PGCP course, that is future teaching. I did it only for the very basic knowledge to know because pandemic and I had now sitting at home. I began even my language session. I am a language expert to American Corner, and I have my own sessions also. So I resurfaced again as a learner and an educator. So one side I was educating students for English language proficiency, and the other side I was learning. I wanted to learn the contemporary times, teachers, pedagogy. I am a teacher trainer also. But I just wanted to resurface what is happening all around, and that's how I enrolled into Center. And by doing the 6-7 month course and having rigorous assessments, and we had capstone project also, we had internship also. So I happened to do an internship with a Cambridge school in Jodhpur. And this again, I targeted, I gave them my senior secondary age group because I was yet looking into back home. Along with back home, I also had other students of the same age in my English language programs. So I was looking into the development, the stagial development of cognitive, socio-emotional, and very important is their behavioral patterns. That is the teenage. So from 8th, 9th, 10th. So even in my internship, I was along with the subject, I was also enhancing their experiential tools. What are the interventions apart from academics that are actually exercised in that school? That is what my outlook was. My capstone project was to see the administrative part of a school during COVID. So the entire capstone project is based on one Cambridge school. And here too, sir, I saw that this age is actually, moody. It's quite, it looks very hyper, but it is very reluctant also. It's quiet. It knows everything, and at the same time, it does not want to answer also anything. So such type of, I just looked into the behavior. Such type of behavior is very persistent. Even my own person, my own son. There is so in this tenure while I was working with the students and even studying with Senta, by the end of Senta course, I even pursued one more element, that is TPO, and I got a national rank in B.Ed category, rank 1. I've got felicitated by Reliance Foundation for my pedagogy. I've got a cash prize and a citation. So this is just adding up. I don't want to sing laurels, but to just not have to read my entire thing, I'm just trying to let you know. These are all such accreditations, sir, which I'm proud of because out of nowhere I began studying, and it is only for the betterment of my people. Whosoever and whatsoever contact you I have, I always would love to enhance it. So that was only the reason that I went pan-India to look into what's happening around when everyone was shut and everything was quiet. So I thought of looking in. So that's our Reliance. I also am awarded by Oxford Teachers modules. So likewise, I've been sponsored by this as a fellowship for this fellowship, Rachna Winter Fellowship in November. So I finished that also. And the most happening, that is the connective between yours and my inclination towards the teenager, is the Buckingham University action research that I did. Now, this was the same age, sir, 14 to 19, and the interventions that the schools actually roused on. You talked about CBSE schools, sir. It is very, we can't say, it is, we are working on, now the new NEP is working on reshuffling of these, I call them scriptures, sir. They are as they are. So when I was teaching, I am teaching sociology and I am teaching contemporary India. I don't refer to the textbooks at all. I prefer to, research, give a case study, reflect, and then let the learnings come out from the students. So so I call these textbooks of CBSE scriptures because they are dated, outdated, they are written back then, and then they have not been touched. They lack the sensitivity of the today's timings and necessity of knowledge. So hence I leave them as they are. So while doing this, again, the Bangalore school also, during COVID, I was in sociology Bangalore, capstone. It's the name of the school. And got to be a supervisor with Army Public School Bangalore also under the CBSE supervision. So here and now with the Buckingham, I created this age that we are all aiming for scores, academies, it goes for books, it goes for notes and coaching classes. Then from the fundamental, because sir, my heart solely belongs to the ECA, that is Early Childhood Association and development, care and development. I believe that is a foundation. But sir, I am already coming upward. In fact, my early year intervention started when I became a mother at 30 years. Before that, I was already in schools. And I just, before becoming a mother, I mean, the last phase of mine was as a supervisor primary. So I know that primary may be troublesome age. So my program Moody Circle was also on troublesome age and behavioral management. I know that in teenage also as they grow higher, they don't have much, playway, or they don't have transitionals, or they do not have much of interactive sessions. So hence, sir, I put up an action research with Buckingham, and that's when I, had a good exposure of some of the schools in Ahmedabad also, wherein I looked into what are the different models, teaching pedagogies, or the student interventions, or what are the different, it was termed as play with a purpose. I am very educative with this three words, play with a purpose. And I believe I have given a number of workshops with other online platforms. And I advocate with mothers. Till now, I take mother workshops and I'm advocating play with the purpose. And this is to give, some model of my own ways that it cannot be monotonous. No learning, no teaching can be monotonous. You cannot just refer to scriptures, refer to the outdated or the old, fashion chalk and pen or PPT. Now it's a varied and it's a collaborative teaching learning. So the environment that is the ultimate, and that is 14 to 19. That's how I gave them that what are some schools around doing in this particular age, and these are my suggestions and solutions. And I asked for their suggestions from UK style, and that's how I got a good synergy of thought exchange. So that was one, and now this with NIRMA, I am with the higher age again, adult learners are here. Here too, sir, the impact is at the same. So it is very rightly you have mentioned. I agree to that because I'm working on it very silently on a one-on-one basis. So you did mention in your talk, Sony, that fundamental we get to know when we interact with students that there is some problem during their years, in the years, maybe senior KG, junior KG, aapke bird se. You did say that we will identify whether the person is outspoken or is introvert or any behavior. We will immediately, if you can build that rapport, and if you are that educator who has been around with the students with ease, at the same time, discipline as a being an educator should be maintained, but it is a motherly or a fatherly or a brotherly. If you get into that, ease of contact with the students, they reveal you. So you need not be a clinical psychologist to understand this. You also can be a educationalist who is into or who is passionate into developing her own or his own knowledge pool and develop and benefit others. Take that experience to benefit others, not revealing any of the interactions and being very confidential. So I have these a good set of the pathway. My career path has been from fundamental. Now I'm with NIRMA. I mean now I'm with the adult learners also. So since COVID, I'm with adult learners. I've been fortunate to take up sessions, that is language skill enhancement for managerial levels also. So adult learners, I feel that this is the place. Teenage is the place where now it is high time that educators like us research onto why methods drowse. Why do we only stick to the board and the score and the JEEs and and boxing? Still, we have come. There are contemporary schools. There are Cambridge and there are Ivy schools, but that is elite or that is a selectively privileged at the top side, sir. 90 or 80% of India, we still have the lot who is CBSE or into state boards. So here is the time, sir, wherein we lose the youth and the energy, because we have less of very stable interventions for students. So if while during the research, if we can do this and we can, suggestion is different, but it can be a very, assessment based, it could be an impact assessment based, it could be something academic impact assessment based if we could find out, or we could survey into students of the different regions, or a committee, or we can, under your guidance, if we could do something like this, that what is in this age, what is missing. There is a lot of things, but we need to give them concrete what is missing. So we can research on the aspect that these are the terms that are missing and these are the solutions, or it is already being worked out, sir. Why we would provide solutions? If asked, we can. But a research can always give us a pathway that yes, these things are being done in other schools, but it is a differentiated school. So these are just some objectives that I wanted to discuss with you. That, sir, I have a whole, you can put me into any bracket, like from 6 months to now I am crossing over to 26 and 46 years old also. So I am inclined towards the teenage research, sir. So if you could guide me on to that, I think I've taken most of the time of talking. So now I'll rest myself and I would ask for your some wise words and your guidance.
Vasundhara, I totally appreciate and I understand the growth path in which you have gone through. I am from a small village. Probably all these discussions will not go into my brother's head. Though he was the headmaster of the school where we have our own management school, which is started by my great grandfather in 1930s. Still we own that. My brothers or me, anybody can manage that school. In Kerala, education system is, we have a management school. I can appoint somebody as teachers. Government will pay the salary. So it's called aided education. So most of my relatives are teachers there because that's a guaranteed pension job. I also would have become teacher there. I am able to appreciate and understand and talk to people like you because I jumped out of the academics. The academics is a small world, and most of the people who are into academics don't understand the rest of the world. I would not have seen Ahmedabad in 1989 if I was not part of the Department of Space. After that, I never came to Ahmedabad also. I must have gone around the whole world, but Ahmedabad I never visited. I kept traveling to Punjab, Shillong, West Bengal, Karnataka, Hampi, Tamil Nadu, Kerala. In the last 2 months, if you look at, I have got up to Shimla to South, except Gujarat, probably Rajasthan, Punjab, all these places I kept talking, meeting different people. India is a very diverse world. Today I posted a video in which I was talking about early childhood education, which one of my we were discussing on this to establish a very special model school, which is not a new concept, which is called the Grandma Child Care Shiksha Gurukulam, which I started nearly 17 years back in Kerala. I authored a book on adaptive learning in 2007. I was in Delhi with JNU. I learned about multimedia learning, how the class can be a camera class. When the COVID taught many of the people, I learned it and then wrote a book on that 17 years back. Education is something which I think where your expertise, the world knowledge needs to be put into the youth, because they are exposed to the world. Teachers are not exposed to the world. They are in a cocoon. They only look at their subject but not related to the next subject. If I am teaching physics, I know only physics. I may not even know the chemistry chapter. But the student sitting in front of me knows chemistry, physics, maths, biology, and they look at the teacher as a person who doesn't know anything else. So first thing, they lost respect to the so-called teachers community. That is not the case when you are young. I have a book on Life Made Simple, which is written in 2002 in Delhi. You can download it from my website. There I wrote, you ask a 3-year-old child who is the greatest person in the world, they will tell my mother and father. 5 years you ask who is the greatest person, they will tell my LKG teacher, UKG teacher. Because they have seen a lot of similar parents, and then they found this teacher knows much more than what is in the house. They know a little bit of world. But you ask a teenager, they will tell you the worst person in the world is my teacher. So the culprit is not the syllabus. Culprit is not the social society. Culprit is not the entire world. It's only teachers. I must have spoken to more than millions of teachers in this country, from east to west, north to south, and all the Gulf regions. I have very rarely seen a teacher who is eager to learn. They have big ego. They think that I know the subject, I know how to, and actually stupid. If you just ask them a word from that subject, they will not even know the meaning of it. They just blah 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 by heart things and then put it. And today, because of the COVID, there are a lot of WhatsApp, Facebook, educational institutions say that I am a researcher, I am a PhD, I have got this degree, that degree, I have webinar, with zero knowledge. It's much worse. And I'm into most of the things because they call me. I don't want to lose an opportunity. Otherwise, I will never meet Vasundhara. Right? Understood? So this is the only method to connect to people who may be some genuine person we will see who are interested. So my interest is not research. Actually, there was a list of things which was told, and then what is that you will do. I said I can do everything. You decide what you want. No? They must have thought I have got a doctorate which is genuine, but most of the people doesn't have genuine. So they thought I can teach this and that. So that is why I was into this, and I have got great interest in this. You give me 300 young children of tiny tots, LKG, UKG, nursery, I can make them to keep quiet without telling once keep quiet. See, in America, I taught 150 children in a camp. I had a camp in 150. You can see Columbus, DrTPS. I did in Columbus in one of the churches. I don't even ask children to be quiet. The session itself starts with a breathing exercise wherein they have to lie down, upside down. That's how I learned from my meditation. I am a meditation master from Himalayan tradition. Our youth in India, what they lack is silence.
True.
You cannot ask them to keep quiet for some time. See, I am a psychotherapist. Even from village or in the city, if somebody comes and the parents like what you are telling, my teenager, my adulthood, I wrote a poetry called Teen to 20, 19 to 20, no? And I have seen the transition of that age. They don't have patience to sit for some time and think. They just grasp so much, they don't even understand what is good and what is bad. And what is advertised in the world is mostly bad things. Good things never gets an advertisement. If DrTPS puts a video, if 100 people see that, I am so great and grand. But I can make my video to have a lakh if I make a controversial subject and then put it on video. That's not my intention. I never criticize, I never get into some controversy subject. In my Facebook or in my YouTube, you cannot see any such. I'm only into academics. I'm only into when somebody wants something, I will see that it can be shared with somebody else, I will share it and put it on YouTube. Even today I am recording it. I will ask you whether I can post it there. If you say post it with your face or without your face, with your voice, without your voice, I edit it accordingly and do that. I do my editing job. So I am doing. What I have seen in children, they have great potential. But the dream is not very big. The dream is not very big because this generation have sufficient things around them. Our generation, my parents were not educated. So education was something which gives me a great privilege. At least I will feel dignified that I have got a qualification. But this generation doesn't have value because they have found people who are not qualified also earning more, becoming famous. So they lost interest in academics, they lost interest in education, they lost interest in most of the things. And one biggest problem, they are all basically lazy. It is not my words. Vivekananda once said, there is only one shapa to India people, and that is Tushni Bhava. Tushni Bhava means they think that I am very active, but they are not active.
Right.
It's like I am awakened, but I am not up from the bed. You understood? So actually you are lazy on the bed without doing anything. In the same pattern, you are not even enjoying the sleep on the bed. And when you are active also, you are not enjoying. I have done a lot of workshops, and then my house was an open house where people can come when they have holiday. They can take my wallet, buy what they want, go to my kitchen, cook what they want. I teach them if they don't know how to make an aloo paratha. If they want biryani and they don't know how to cook, I will tell them take wallet, go and buy these items, and then we will cook together, eat together, then learn maths, physics, chemistry, biology, microbiology, management sciences, MBBS, MBA, whatever subject you want. Take them to fort where we play hide and seek. And during the time, we will tell you the history of the fort. So I have done a program called the Shiksha Holiday Program. SHIK, Shiksha, HP is Holiday Program.
I've seen, sir. Right now I've seen it.
Beautiful program where people of engineering, MBBS, MBA, lot of people used to come and then spend time with me. So I am telling from the young teenage to up to PhD, people used to come and learn what they want. I did a Art of Parenting program, workshops for a lot of parents in Ramakrishna. So I am from an Ayurvedic family. For during Garbha, during the pregnancy, what to eat, what is to be chanted so that your child will become strong, what sort of song you should listen, what sort of food you should eat, in what sort of a mood you should have a sexual relation so that your child will become that. It is not the health. It is not a physical health. So I talk about physical health, I talk about intelligence, I talk about emotional health, I talk about social health, and I also talk about spiritual matter. So fivefold development.
So I am also, sir, I also am associated with such pre and postnatal. Just before COVID struck, I had a very good program on Garbhagyan. So there again, it was in association of what you are speaking, and I have Ayurved doctors also with me as a team. And every second and fourth Saturday for 1 hour, I make it a point to be at the clinic and give my whatever I can help out, because I was with mother and toddlers. So I give my advice and expertise to these clinics.
So probably what we can do is, I don't know whether they have a data collected with a very specific focused research program in mind, number one. Number two, whether when you go for research, you should have a very specific. It can be multiple ones, but categorize them and put into different shelf, so that there is no confusion between the data collected, the objective and scope. So that's why we have to be very specific on the objective and scope definition. This is what I am objective, this is my scope. If I have got little more, put it into a different problem. Right? So identify these problems, and then if so far it is not done, data collection is not done, documentation is not done, it is not a big job. Only thing, either we should go for the first hand survey, or maybe a interview sort of a thing where people share their different ideas, put them together, right? The experience of experienced people also can be there. So you have to decide whether I am going to take a primary data or a secondary data, right? So all these can be put together to decide what is exactly required. And second one, if you want to get a PhD, you want to publish a paper, it's a different part. The second part is, how do you really make it into a module in which we can show that yes, there is a change in people. See, for example, what I did was, I took 8th grade children. You can see a program called ICON, in which what I did was, in 2010, I went to a small village, picked up 90 children, 45 girls and 45 boys, and then wanted to teach them English communication. They are from a Malayalam medium, from a village, they don't even speak one sentence. Forget about the correct sentence or not. They can't even express their ideas. They may know the words, but they don't know how to connect them and then put them into a sentence. I took them to Goa, made them to interact with the people who don't understand their language. 3 days they had the courage of speaking English. I don't say they speak English, they got the courage of speaking English.
So this is adaptability, sir.
Yeah. Then what is done is, I worked very closely with Navodaya Vidyalaya. So Navodaya Vidyalaya only the place where they were staying. So 3 days the company was a person who is in a different language. They are not supposed to speak to any person of their own language. They should speak either to a person from Goa, or they had a Himachal Pradesh tuning program in the Navodaya Vidyalaya. So 3 days, a drastic change in their life. They were very active, they were never naughty, they never had any problem. If you look at the behavioral change which they had in 3 days was fantastic. Second one, they were given high responsibility at their house to take stock of the expenditure, income, what is happening there. So they become so matured, much matured than their parents. Understood? That's what I keep saying. Maybe my elder brothers who are headmasters for me, they look upon me as a little more matured person, not because of my biological age. The responsibility in which we behave. So yesterday also I was talking to a student, I told them, what is your age? 17. No, from today onwards, behave as if you are 27. You will be entirely different. Understood? So it needs some sort of a 10 days workshop, 18 days workshop. We can make children entirely different. So I have done this to millions of people. Now people who come to me are from people who knows me maybe 10 years back, 20 years back. They are all into different places. The children who were almost parents and teachers written off saying that they will never pass 10th class. They are now doctors, done PhD. Many of 17 of them are MTechs. working in MNC companies. Understood. So I am sure with no background at any age we can intervene, but the intervention will be slightly more risky, or maybe you have to have a thoughtful process of changing them. Young age, yes, you can influence them, but it's a longer process. Understood. So it's not that easy for making them to happen, because they capture from different parts of the people. They don't know which is correct, which is not correct. Their ears are open for everything in the same frequency. But when you have more sense, probably 8th grade onwards, they know which is good for me, which is not good for me, where I should listen, where I should not listen. So I believe from young childhood to a grown-up, maybe probably up to adolescence, there are interventions possible at different levels. I look at it in a very, very holistic style. I use my psychotherapy knowledge from the Western science, which I learned. I have an MS in psychotherapy and counseling. I also look at it from the Eastern philosophy of understanding the culture, behavior patterns, the satsang which we have. We call it a satsang, the people with which we communicate, which we associate, the mentorship which we have. All these matters. So whatever fashion Vasundhara wanted me, and you think that we can have a workshop in which, make some few workshops in which people can change their life patterns and show them that, then understand how do they change. All this can be done. An observation, don't think about a presentation, or that can be always managed. It is not a great thing, and I don't think many serious people will go for. I stopped attending conferences long back. Understood. Unless there is a very specific requirement, I love to go to class and teach than going for a platform program where some mega festival happens. I am not. So I like to be a teacher. I am sure if I can invest some time for somebody who really wants something from me, which I have been gifted by my gurus, many years of association with them. If I don't give it to somebody else, actually it's a crime doing to my gurus. And that is the only intention with which I am working. Okay. So whatever Vasundhara wants and whatever you think, I asked you Anand because when I was in Ahmedabad, I had my relatives in NIRMA, and I used to go to Anand every week, most of the weekends.
Okay.
So NIRMA was, and many of my students, many of my close relatives studied MBA there, and they passed out.
The NIRMA is reputed. I happened to by chance join NIRMA. I was packing my bag to Bangalore, sir.
Okay.
I have a teenage son, and he is now in grade 10. So we were shifting to Bangalore.
Okay.
But NIRMA happened, and he did well in his 9th grade. So he says, I'll stay back in the same school.
So otherwise your family is in Bangalore now?
No, sir. I was working with a very good school, sociology department. I was heading sociology.
Which school is that?
Sir, Capstone High School.
Okay. The last 3 months back, I was there in Bangalore, and I did teachers, parents, students. I call it as teachers, parents, students, TPS. My name is also TPS, right? So I speak to the teachers, I speak to parents, I speak to students, and then it's actually a 3-pillar job. Otherwise, it won't be stable.
No, I'll definitely put forward. I've got your links and your little brief intro. I'll put it forward to them also.
Yeah.
And in fact, now we are closing down the semester year. I just have got to know you have done your research in mathematics, and you are a scholar in mathematics. So if in case I can also put you forward to NIRMA University, just for a very good brainstorming sessions for the students and the teachers. I will definitely, my HOD is not present for the weekend, but I'll put forward as and when. Now that within 15-20 days we are going to have the last exam, and after that we'll be more free. So I'll put this forward, sir, now that we'll be in contact also. I look forward to
My
it.
last tenure, I worked with a university. I don't put everything onto this. It's maybe a tenure. That during the COVID, what I did was from home, I was teaching a university here where I was addressing only MBA, BBA, and BTech students.
So I have BBA and MBA students, sir. I take it second semester.
So what I do is
And
that logical reasoning, analytical skill, taking
Yeah.
them towards the corporate jobs, how the interviews happen. Because I've got hundreds of children put into Infosys, Tata, TCS, Cognizant, you name any company, I will have hundreds of my students put there. And most of them I mentored at many levels.
now I need your mentorship, sir, because I need to get my doctorate degree.
Yeah. Did you register anywhere?
No, sir. I have not yet registered. You can guide me on for that also. I have my MA in history.
Yeah.
I have 3 areas of interest. One is the teenage. One is the mother's mental health post-delivery, sir. That was the basic reason that I started the Mother Circle, wherein apart from having more activity, we were also drained, sir, physically drainage. So this is the time when we are lactating and we cannot have any medicines also to soothe ourselves. And often our bodies, our minds are just neglected by none other than ourselves.
Actually, there is a beautiful slogan in Hadayoga Pradipika. Sharira Manaso Yoga, Paraspara Manuprajet, Adhara Adheya Bhavena, Tapta. When your mind says that I am active, the physical body will adjust itself.
So it is because of, sir, the well-being of our child that we often neglect. But then people, that's how I want to, that's what I want to research. That do we have something substantial to help the mamas? What is our Indian society? Is it only still into one particular parameter that it is a motherly phase? Can we help out? Can we reach out? Can we hear some stories which are really drastically incapable and have gone down in huge depression? We've seen cases like, infants being killed up by their own mothers. Is it due to the PPD, that is postpartum treatment? So such things also is my area of interest. This is the 2, teenage and the mother. And the third one is the coin. I want to study women on coin. I want to research. It is a very narrow thin line because it is an ancient history, but still it is a very empowering tool that I would want to look into. And why did we stop? And if we can have an assessment or a survey-based, a very good likelihood or a likelihood question where we can put forward that do you agree, disagree, or are you partial? That should we have women on coins back again, at least as an empowering tool for the society which is now advocating equity, whether it is wage, whether it is position, whether it is pay, whatever it is, we are equalizing women. Then can we have this back again in India? Because ours is a rich, reflective culture of Indian women and fighters in family, survivors in at kingdom level. So very wonderful and vast and a beautiful history we have on women. So this is one new development. COVID last 1 year and developed this interest on women on coins.
I think the women are more empowered than men today, and then I think the men empowerment programs will come up now.
So you see, sir, 2023, US has begun minting coins, and the first female is Maya.
See, I'll tell you, I don't know whether you know Gorakhpur Press, Gita Press. The Gita Press, Gorakhpur Press has got a very special issue which is called Woman Number. It's a beautiful book. It's nearly 10-15 years back. It talks about our Indian epics, Indian mythology, the Indian Vedic system, how the women were powerful. It's called Woman Number. It's a beautiful, it's almost 15-20 years back. I've got the book. Yeah. So I'm sure India is a place where we have not found a difference between men and women. We have got Radha Krishna who prefixed Radha's name, added to his Krishna's name. But today it's the other way for women in India. Understood? So,
Very
I have a beautiful poetry in which I says we have got Rama Sita combination, Krishna Radha combination, either wife or girl, either wife or girlfriend, and therefore Buddha cannot be an incarnation of that Janma because he divorced and then went. Understood? So we have a strong tradition of keeping women around. Yeah. Even every yaga yajna which we do,
yes.
there is the woman has to be part of the yaga yajna. Otherwise, it's not full.
Yes, absolutely. So these were some three basics. Women is always on top. I mean, that is my area of interest. That is pregnancy time, post-pregnancy, and then women on coin. These are the two area of interest. And the third very basic is my teenage. Because I believe coming from all walks of life, teenage is often neglected and said that abhi to many of them say that tum bade ho gaye ho. At the same time, the same society, the same people will say abhi tum kamana nahi shuru nahi kiya, don't take your own decision.
No, it's an age of conflict. See, the all fivefold which I said, physically they have a lot of problem. Either you grow, you have a problem. You don't grow, also you have a problem. So physical stress, emotional totally stress, intellectually the maximum stress is during that time.
Yes.
And socially also, as you said, the parents will take them to every party, but when they become teenage, they will ask them to keep at home, and home is not the safe place at all. So that is also a very big problem. And then you have a spiritual contradiction, conflict, because the lot of reasoning will come, and then you ask questions. People are not there to give answers. Most of them are the bogus people who give a stupid answer sometimes, right? So I think they need a lot of care. They need to be carefully mentored also. So I'm sure we have great scope. What probably you can see is my holistic approach of dealing such things. If you wanted to know, probably you should have some program in which where I will spend a time, maybe 18 days or 10 days camps, and then look at how do I do. In my old home in Kerala, which is called Nanam, Janam. That's an old house. If you can Google DrTPS in Google Map, then you will see 3 houses in Kerala. And one house in Hyderabad. All these are places where I conduct camps. People can come and stay with me. We do a lot of activities, right? In which I don't distinguish between the age for the camp. The young children will be there, the parents also will be there, the teachers also will stay, a company manager will be there, and the teenagers also will be there. It's like a big family mixing together, learning together, a lot of. It's like in house. What will happen is what will happen after 10 days, and they will keep crying after 10 days when they go back from my camp, as if a child is going away from their parents. That's the way they start crying, right? So I'm sure we can do a lot of things in which we can show. Still, we can have a quality life together with the different ages, without having any conflict and contradictions, right? I think we can do that. We can plan something and then we can do that.
Sure. So for this particular workshop, I look forward, sir, and I'm sure that I will now zero on some
very specific problem.
Yes, some specific wherein I could put in a lot of my all the energies, and I can be a purpose towards a good resource.
Yeah.
So, it was a nice afternoon timing, sir, under your guidance and sharing with our common interest. And I look forward to our.
I keep saying Gujarati people maja mein chhe na.
Maja, yeah. So, see you, sir, on 28th back again. Till then, I'll prepare something on concrete lines and I will be able to showcase.
Yeah.
And since it is in the late evening, I'll be back home also. So, it will be a very good, ideal setting for interactions back again.
So, this can be posted on YouTube?
I think, yeah, so right on, sir. Yeah.
No editing required. As it is, it can go, right?
I think yes, because it is informative, sir. We've had a very good conversational. It is a viewpoint discussion, and at the same time, it is a complementary discussion with interest and with our work pattern as well as our entire career path, that we've been working in diverse areas, but still collaborating in a string of lines, like a timeline happening one after year happening. We worked in a good synergized timeline and educational sectors, be it primary, pre-primary, primary, secondary. So ours, I think this is a very complimentary, conversation that we had today. In fact, I'm thankful to the timings and yourself, sir. So see you soon.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yes.